Lord, 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 please help me. I'm drowning in all these waves coming at me. Please send me a life jacket. Wait a minute. I live in Midland, Texas. We don't have water here. Sorry, Lord. I'll get back to you on that.
Hey everybody, thanks for joining me on the channel today, the Crusaders for Christ. I appreciate you guys taking some time out of your day and watching this video. Hopefully you'll enjoy it, get something out of it. Please hit that like and subscribe button, hit those little thumbs up buttons, and maybe the little bell so you know when I'm posting. But without further ado, let's get into this. Let's dive deep into the subject today. Basically, we're talking about the waves of life. And again, thank you for joining me. All right, let's dive into this. This is going to be Psalm 107, verses 23 through 30. So let's see what it says here. Others went out on the sea in ships. They were merchants on the mighty waters. They saw the works of the Lord, his wonderful deeds in the deep. For he spoke and stirred up a tempest that lifted high the waves. They mounted up to the heavens and went down to the depths. In their pearl, their courage melted away. They reeled and staggered like drunken men, and were at their wits' end. Then they cried out to the Lord in their trouble, and he brought them out of their distress. He stilled the storm to a whisper, and the waves of the sea were hushed. They were glad when it grew calm, and he guided them to their desired haven. All right, so like I said, we're talking about the waves of life. One of my favorite shows used to be Magnum P.I. Some of you might remember that show from the 80s. I think it ran for 8 seasons, but it was one of my favorite shows. He always talked to his little voice and everything, and sometimes I hear voices, and sometimes I answer them, which I probably shouldn't. But anyways, there's one of my favorite episodes is where TC, his buddy, took his helicopter, and Magnum was on it, and they flew out over the ocean several miles out. And then Magnum dropped his kayak in the water, and then he jumped out into it. But just as he landed in the water, a big wave came and hit him, and he couldn't see his kayak. He didn't know where his kayak was. And then as the camera panned out, you could see the kayak was just like one wave over from him. But because where he was in the water and the waves were around him going up and down, he couldn't see his kayak. So basically the rest of the episode was him trying to stay alive, basically kind of trying to stay alive and everything in the ocean there. And he was remember back to his dad and different things that tries to help him get through. So with that being said, he was stuck out on the ocean and waves going up and down. I'm going to read another passage for you. And we're going to go to Mathew 14. We're going to start with verse 23, and we're going to go through 32. You might know the story. It's when Peter walks on water, so let's check it out. So after he had dismissed them, he went up on a mountainside by himself to pray. When evening came, he was there alone, but the boat was already a considerable distance from land, buffeted by the waves because the wind was against it. During the 4th watch of the night, Jesus went out to them, walking on the lake. When the disciples saw him walking on the lake, they were terrified. "It's a ghost," they said, and cried out in fear. "Something strange in the neighborhood. Who you gonna call? Ghostbusters." Sorry, I had to. You know anything about ghosts, Ghostbusters? I'm sorry. All right, so they cried out in fear. But Jesus immediately said to them, "Take courage, it is I. Don't be afraid." "Lord, if it's you," Peter replied, "tell me to come to you on the water." "Come," he said. Now, what if it was a ghost? And it was a ghost that liked to play jokes, and Peter said, "Hey, if it's you, tell me to come on out." And what if that ghost was like, "Yeah, sure, come on out. It's safe. Yeah." Just saying. Peter was a pretty trusting guy. But at least he went out. Everyone else was hiding in the boat, so you got to give that to Peter. The Peter got down out of the boat and walked on the water and came towards Jesus. But when he saw the wind, he was afraid and began to sink and cried out, "Lord, save me." Immediately, Jesus reached out his hand and caught him. "You of little faith," he said, "why did you doubt?" And when they climbed into the boat, the wind died down, and those who were in the boat worshipped him, saying, "Truly, you are the Son of God." Um, when I look at that, I felt like Jesus, the way it's kind of worded there, to me, makes it sound like Jesus had compassion on him. Because he wanted so much out of Peter. It's like, man, why did you doubt, man? It's like, you're so close. You were so close. He wanted Peter to do so good. It kind of reminds me back in high school when I would have a great basketball game and my dad would be there, and after the game, I'd go up to him and I'd say, "Hey, look at these points I did and the assists, and the rebounds and the steals." And, he would say, "Well, yeah, that's good, but you had 3 turnovers and you could have got those 2 rebounds." And like, man. And it's not he was being mean. It was the fact that he wanted me to do so much better. And he knew I could have done better. If I just would have pushed a little hard, had a little more hustle, I could have done a lot more better. And I would have had a better game. And I think that's what Jesus was doing with Peter. Like, Peter, man, come on. You were so close. If you just would have kept your eyes on me, you would have done miraculous things, and your faith would have grown so much more, so much sooner. And that's kind of how I feel Jesus was kind of talking to Peter about. But let's go to story time. Let me tell you a story, and maybe we can get something out of this story. I'm a scuba diver. Some of you know I love scuba diving. Yep. Anyway, so I love scuba diving, and my first trip to the Bahamas, my first time really diving in the ocean, it was really cool. Anyways, so you get on the boat, basically before every dive, the dive master or the captain comes out and they say, "Okay," everyone gets together and they say, "Okay, in this dive you're going to see these kind of sea animals down here. You got the current going this direction or this direction, so start your dive up against the current, so when you're done with your dive, you can ride that current right back and you won't have to fight as much." And so they gave us those instructions, but my dive buddy, we kind of hit it off pretty good. We're actually still good friends today, but he had almost 400, 500 dives under his belt, and I only had like 50 or 60 by the time I did this dive, and with all my training and stuff. And he's like, "Hey, everyone's going to go that way. They're going to start off that way, and they're going to scare all of the marine life away. And so let's go this way so we don't scare it away, and we're going to be able to see things before they scare them all away." Oh, yeah. I had no reason to doubt him. He had all these extra dives under his belt. And so we go that way, and it was a great dive. Like I said, my first dive in the ocean, and we saw some sharks, we saw octopus, we saw some eels, we saw rays, we saw everything you'd really want to see, and it was just unbelievable, especially for my first dive. But usually when you're a new scuba diver and you're seeing all these things, you're going to breathe faster, so you can use your air up a little bit faster, unless you're really good at controlling your air, which I used up a good part of my air pretty quick. But I told him, I gave him the signal, "Hey, we need to go up, I'm low on air," and he's like, all right. So we kind of tried to work our way back and kind of lost track of where we were. And when we came up and surfaced, we were about a good 100 yards, 120 yards from the boat, which you could see the boat little ways away, and it's going up and down, disappearing, because of the waves and everything. All right, here we go. This is going to stink. So we just put our head down and just started swimming like crazy. So we're going. And after about 20 or 30 seconds, I pull my head out of the water, look up, and we're almost further away. Like, wait a minute, what's going on? Put our head down, start swimming some more. Nothing changed. We were in the current. We were fighting the current, which is not good at all. So I had a little bit of air left. Basically, when you scuba dive, when you go down, your air compresses, so you think you have a lot less, but then when it comes back up, it expands a little bit, so you have a little bit left over, a little bit more than you did down below. So I said, "Hey, let's dive down just below the current and swim as far as I can until I'm almost out of air, then we'll come up and see where we're at." And it worked out pretty good. We got a lot closer. We were 20 or 30 yards short of the boat by the time we got up, but we were a lot closer and felt a lot safer. But we were by that time exhausted. And of course, we were still down current, so we just had to, man, we were swimming like crazy. And by this time, we were a little exhausted. I can't recall being more exhausted. Just like think of doing a sprint and not going anywhere. That's what it was like. But we got a lot closer. But with that being said, let's look at three things that are pretty similar here between Peter and us. First of all, neither one of us listened. Me and my dive buddy or Peter, we didn't listen. I mean, the first thing Jesus says is, "Don't be afraid. It is I. Take courage." Now, if he would have just been not afraid and listened to God, listened to Jesus, I'm sorry, he was right there. He was standing right in front of him. He was right there, and he walked to him. And if he would just, hey, this is Jesus. Jesus is right in front of me. Why should I be scared? I shouldn't be scared at all. I should be able to have faith and knowing that he's there, nothing's going to happen to me. And if he would have listened, he wouldn't have gotten scared, and he wouldn't have had the other issues that are coming up. And same thing, if we would have listened to our dive master, we would have started. We may not have seen all the things that we did. It was fun for a while, but we ended up paying the price because they said start up here and then carry the current back, and we didn't. We were on the opposite end, and we ended up having to go through with this, which is the second point, which we trusted in ourselves. And same thing with Peter. Peter gets out there and he starts looking around. I'm sure he got out of the boat and he's like, hey, I can do this. Look at this. You guys are chickens. You guys are sitting all back here. But me, I'm getting out. And then when he started looking around, he started seeing these waves and he started getting scared. Instead of putting his faith where it should have been, instead of looking at Jesus and trusting in him through all of his issues, what happened? He started sinking. What happened to us? We thought we knew the way, and it seemed good for a while. We saw these cool things, cool animals out there. It was great for a while until we had to make our way back, and then we realized we probably made the wrong decision. So then you have the third thing. The third similarity is we both had to pay the consequences. I'm sure with Peter, when he started to sink, what was his consequences? I'm sure he felt, when it was all said and done, he felt shame because he let down Jesus. I'm sure he walked out there to try and impress him. He tried maybe, I don't know if he was really showing off, but I truly believe he wanted to go out there to meet Jesus. I don't think it was an egotistical thing, but if he would have followed him, he wouldn't have started sinking and the fear. I've been out there. When you see these waves coming at you, just the fear and having to ask for help. That's probably a hard thing for Peter. Peter was, seemed like he had pretty pride, He's like, hey, I'm Peter. I'm the rock. I'm the man. I can do this, And then to realize that he couldn't and had to admit that he was wrong. And especially having to be saved, looking kind of bad in front of all the other boys over there. And just the humiliation and just the fear. Drowning is scary. If you've ever been out there, if you've ever got surfing or scuba diving or snorkeling or in a swimming pool and someone knocks you down below the water or something, it's scary under there. And just the thought of being in the ocean, Peter looking around and seeing the waves coming in and him starting to sink, I'm sure he freaked out. It is scary. And I'm sure the fear, man. But what happened? What was the ending? What was the way out? Immediately he cried out and Jesus was right there. Boom, reached out his hand. The Bible says immediately Jesus reached out and saved him. So he had to be right in front of him when he started sinking. How can you not put your faith in Jesus when he's right there in front of you? And instead he started looking around. But Jesus very graciously reached out and saved him immediately. The way we got out was the waves were hitting, we're picking up pretty good. We got closer to the boat. We got reaching distance, and by that time, a lot of the other divers were coming back, and the waves would come way down. And what the other divers would do is they would wait till the waves would die way down, and then they try and swim up to grab. But every time they get close to it, the wave would come back up and bring it back down, and they kept doing that. Well, I decided, and I told my buddy to follow my lead. So we waited till the wave came up right by the ladder, and I basically grabbed the ladder with both arms, and you're still under, the wave would come up, so you're underwater while the wave's coming up, and you just have to hold on, and then the wave would come down, and as soon as the wave would go down, you'd have no water, because the wave goes kind of below the boat. So we climbed out of the boat real quick, and as we're taking off our gear, the captain comes up to me and he goes, "That was smart, but you guys are still idiots for getting stuck way out there." And he was cool captain, but he kind of made his point. But after we got a gear off, we kind of collapsed on the deck of the boat. And as we're laying there looking up, he just stands over us. He goes, "I hope we learned something today." Yes, we did. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So the rest of the trip, we kind of started where we were supposed to, but it was a good lesson learned. But what we did, not I ever knew that to be a lesson, but what we need to do in life, instead of fighting against the waves of life, the fight against the things that are bringing us down, use those waves to bring you up. Use those waves to make you stronger. Use those waves, ride those waves to get you where you want to go. And Jesus is going to be there the whole time with his hand. Grab my hand and I'll get you out. I'll get you on the boat. I'll get you to safety. Jesus is always there for you. Doesn't matter what kind of waves you're going through in life. And like I said, usually it's not one. Maybe you're sick, you found out you got a disease or something, or you're sick, or you're struggling with headaches or something, and then somebody wrecks the car, or they cut back hours at work, or maybe you lose your job. Then you find out you're being separated, or maybe you're struggling with depression or something. And there's always seems like there's something that's hitting your boat. The waves are constantly hitting you. The waves are always trying to bring you down, and it's coming from all angles. Use Jesus to bring you back up. I want to read a couple other scriptures real quick. Oh, just for the record, the name of my boat that I was on was called the Morning Star, which is pretty good. So the next time I went, I made sure that I was on the Morning Star, so you can't go wrong with the name of a boat like that. All right, so Psalm 89:9, you rule over the surging sea. When its waves mount up, you still them. You rule over the surging sea. When its waves mount up, you still them. All right, Psalm 93, verse 4. The seas have lifted up, O Lord. The seas have lifted up their voice. The seas have lifted up their pounding waves. Mightier than the thunder of the great waters, mightier than the breakers of the sea, the Lord on high is mighty. So again, whatever you might be going through in life, I don't know what it is. It could be something very serious, or it could be just something minor. But again, Jesus is always there, and he wants to be there for you. And if you're going through the waves of life, if you're lost out on the ocean, and you don't know Jesus, you don't know the one who can calm the sea, I just ask that you would open your heart to him. I ask that you would just get on your knees, even right now, and just ask Lord to enter your life, to show you the way. He's the way, the truth, the life. He's the only way to heaven is through Jesus. There's no other ways. Just ask on your knees, open your heart, and just admit to God that you've sinned, that you're a sinner, and Jesus will hear your call. He will hear you. He will immediately reach down and grab you and pull you out. He'll immediately reach out and save you. When you're going through these waves of life, who better to call on than somebody who can calm the whole sea? Who else? All your waves can be gone. Because he's the one that can calm the sea. And who else? Even if he doesn't calm the sea, He can walk on water. He can walk on the water and meet you where you're at. Right in the middle of all the waves come around you, He can walk out to you and be there right with you, right beside you through all the hard times. Now, when you're going through these times, instead of asking, Lord, Lord, can you please just take this away from me? Take this pain away from me. Instead of asking that, ask Him, Lord, what are you trying to teach me through this? What lessons are you trying to want me to learn from this? Show me what you want me to learn. So maybe down the road, I can share it with somebody else. I can help somebody else. I can maybe go out and save somebody who else is drowning. And if nothing else, just pray for strength. Instead of asking God to take you out of it, ask Him to help you through it and give you strength, so it'll make you stronger. And you'll be a better person for it. Every dive makes you a better diver. Just like every struggle is going to make you stronger. So keep that in mind. I really appreciate you guys taking your time out of your day and watching this video. I really appreciate it. It means a lot to me. Please hit that like and subscribe button if you like the content. And then please put some comments down below. If you guys got prayer requests, please put them down below and I'll add them to my list. I got a list going that I pray for. And again, thank you very much, people, for watching. And remember, Crusaders for Christ. Peace out. Love y'all. Talk to you later. Thank you. Bye. It's me again. I just want to ask if you would please like and subscribe. Because with one subscription, one like, once you hit the little thumb button, and once you hit that subscribe button, you can feed a puppy for a day. That's right. With just one little subscription, you can feed this homeless little puppy for a day. And each time you hit it, you can feed her another day. So please, help this poor, homeless little puppy by liking and subscribing. Because her life depends on it. Does she look sad enough? Does she look sad? Do you feel sad? Do you feel bad? Please? Please? Alright. You guys have a great day. Thanks for watching. Talk to you later. Bye. Say bye. Bye.